Hello! In this video we are now going to go over the Magic Wand tool. To find the Magic Wand tool in your toolbar, right now it's hidden behind the Object Selection tool. It's another selection tool. With this tool I'm going to go ahead and switch to my cherry image here. With this tool, one of the benefits of this tool is that it allows you to select a similar either color or value of colors. For example, if I want to select the white this time around, if I just click right here, click, it's selecting all of the pixels around my cherry image. I'm going to zoom out just to show you what's going on. I'm going to switch to my selection tool just so that, or my move tool, just so you could see what's going on here. If you notice that there is this marquee, the marching ants, going all around the image, so this is saying that all of this is selected except for the interior marching ants area. So this area inside where the cherry is not selected. To demonstrate this, I'm going to switch to my brush tool and I'm going to make a larger brush. And as I go over, notice how only the area that is selected is being affected, being the white background. I'm going to go to Edit Undo because I don't necessarily want that. I'm just using that as a demonstration. But since we have a selection, this is kind of reverse selecting the reverse. And so since we have the background selected, I actually want the cherry selected. You go to select and you can tell it to inverse your selection. I'm going to do this right now. And now if you look closely, for this image, the information around the cherry is now selected. So if I was to do that demonstration with my brush, notice how now the cherry portion of my image is selected. I'm going to undo this again. Undo, edit, undo. But what happens when you have an image as this? I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my original image. Remember, I already converted this from a background image and renamed it. So I'm going to hide my original image here. And what the Magic Wand tool does is that it's trying to select similar pixels. There are a couple of options. Right now, sample size, by default it's point. By giving it a sample of 5 by 5, it's able to get a larger range of color, of tonal value. The tolerance, usually I believe the default is set to 32, tells it how much of a contrast it requires to make a selection. The higher the contrast, the bigger, the more of a lighter value is going to select. So say for example, if I'm trying to select the UFO here, I'm going to click on this. Notice how what colors it actually decided to select, what values. It's selecting these darker values, but it didn't select this right here. Now it is a selection tool. I can always add to the selection. I'm going to click right here and notice that it's selected a little bit more, but notice that these rocks are also selected. Now what happens if I click right here? Once I click right here, let's see, click. Notice how it's selecting more of this sky as well. Tonally, the values between the sky and the dome are really similar. So I'm going to deselect. I'm going to go to Edit, Deselect, just to try a different selection. Now what if I want to, say, select, there's a big contrast, this tree head person. I can select this. I want to add to that selection. I could either click on this, the Add To button. I'm going to hold down Shift this time. I'm adding to the selection. Now this one has nice contrast, so it's allowing me to add to that selection. But what happens when I start adding the tree head? Let's see. You see it starts to spread out simply because the contrast is too great. I'm going to do a couple of edit undo to take me back a couple of steps. But what happens if I start to either increase or decrease the tolerance? I'm going to decrease the tolerance. Let's go something dramatic, 10. I'm going to hold down Shift. And notice that this time it's not adding as big of an area. Oop, it did right there. Undo. What if I even bring this down further to 5 or 4? I'm going to hold down Shift to add to my selection. It's still, those values are still too similar. So here I can still do undo, undo, undo. Let me go over a couple of options here. What if I'm just right here? A couple options. Anti-alias is going to give us a smoother selection because after all, we're just trying to make a selection here. But this one, contiguous, means that the pixels have to be connected one another. Once I turn this off and say, I'm going to zoom out so you can see this. If I select the values right here, I'm going to hold down Shift. It is selecting this value throughout my entire image. Notice how there's a couple of areas that I like to call them like little islands. They're not connected to anything. But because I turned off this option, it's selecting those values all throughout. I'm going to undo this, Command Z or Control Z. I'm going to turn this on again. And once I click on this button right here again, or this area, click. Notice that well, here, I'm going to do, I did not hold down Shift. It's only selecting the areas that are connected. So that is really useful. So depending on what you're trying to select, this tool could be useful, but it's another tool that we're able to use to make a selection. So now that we have this selection right here, just like any other selection, we're able to either copy, we're able to isolate this area, we're either to paste, or we're able to create a layer mask. But going forward, we're going to go over another tool. I want to focus on creating layer masks. I do not want to start off with this sample here, but in the next tool, we'll focus on being able to make some really nice selections and isolating them by using layer masks. So I'll see you in that next video.